I'm here. I don't think you can see me though. I don't know why. Give us a sec, we'll figure it out. There we go. No idea what happened there. I am here, as you can see. Right, we're going to do a Q&A tonight, so get your questions in the comments here and throw your questions in on Instagram. I asked on Instagram, got a lot of questions on Instagram. I'm going to roll through those, and I'll roll through the breaking news that we've had this evening as well, which is that Jason Wilcox has handed in his notice at Southampton. United have offered a year's salary, which is what Southampton paid for him to get him. But apparently that's not enough now because United are involved. So he's resigned. Apparently he's got a 12-month notice period, so technically he wouldn't be able to start work for United for 12 months. Like I've always said, how realistic that is. That gardening leave, I'm sorry, does your WhatsApp not work? You don't have to be in the building to be working. Which is how I think some of that stuff would probably go off. But yeah, that seems to have happened. He's credited with a lot of young players, from Brahim Diaz to Sancho to Foden. How you apportion the relative success or failure of some of those players coming through Manchester City's academy, do you attribute it to him? There's a lot of people involved, a lot of ingredients go into making a player. Like I always said, like who taught Kobe Manu how to play football? It obviously wasn't the United Academy, because if it was, then every player that left the United Academy would look exactly like Kobe Manu. So there's other people involved in that, and I believe Manchester Futsal might have had a hand in that. I did see that, but I didn't look deeply into it, so it is on my to-do list of things that I need to get to done. But yeah, Wilcox, we might do a bit of a deep dive on him this week, see what we can expect, but it is what it is. Real Killers 11 says, why are you wearing a bucket hat indoors? Why aren't you wearing a bucket hat indoors? Evan says, am I imagining things or am I on Paddock less? I spent last week in Wales. Like, I can do my own stuff from wherever I am, but, sitting down with lads from Paddock. I mean, I was on after the game. What more do you want? You wouldn't have seen me on Paddock this week up until now. So it's one of them, innit? What does a technical director actually do? Unfortunately, it is a bit of a catch-all kind of term that will be hyper-specific in its role to every single club. There won't be a definite sort of way that every single team uses that role, I don't think. I think you'll probably see lots of different ways of doing the same job, or what seems on the outside to be the same job. Louis says, saw the video on Sanchez, agree 100%, but let's say he does end up managing United. What are some realistic positives we can take from it? None. There are no positives to take from it. None whatsoever. How much does the responsibility start from the manager? We at least need proper changes. I said loads of times, I think there's a few things going on with United on the pitch at the moment that I absolutely think that Ten Hag has to take responsibility for. There's also a lot of things which aren't necessarily his doing. Paying 70 million for Casemiro, do you think he had any involvement in that whatsoever? Or after those defeats last season, did he go, I fucking need a central midfielder? And they was like, ta-da, we spent all our budget on one 30-year-old. So, like, realistically, how do you think it went off like that? Do you know what I mean? Matty says, not football related. Any military podcast apart from Sean Ryan that you'd recommend? Sean Ryan's good, but he is also completely off his fucking melon. The Unconventional Soldier podcast is quite a good one. And they've got one that I bookmarked to have a listen to today about whether Martin McGuinness was a tout or not, which I'm interested to have a listen to. Darren says, will Fergie see us win a title like Busby did in 93? Yeah, I'm sure it'll happen. I can't tell you when it'll be. I don't reckon it'll be next year. And I don't reckon it'll be this year either. I'm going to be honest with you. Dylan says, we're not replacing Ten Hag. Give him a summer under an actual structured front office. Then we can see if he's the guy. I don't even know if one summer cuts it. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it inside one summer. It took Fergie 7 years. And he spent a lot of money, and he was allowed to finish in places that people would absolutely lose their mind if Erik ten Hag finished in now. But it seems like Martin Edwards knew what was going on, and he wasn't keen on getting rid of him when all of the press decided that they needed to get rid of him. But it's one of those. Jack says, ex-Royal Engineer here, I work for BFBS too. Nice. Reach out, man. I'll tell BFBS I'll come and do some stuff with them. If they want a presenter, I'd be well up for doing some shit like that. Wayne says, what exactly is Steve McLaren's role? Never see him do anything. He's the assistant manager. He assists the manager. He also was probably there as a little bit of a link to the culture of Manchester United. How did the camping go? It got postponed. I did go and do a recce though today to go and see. While camping's a bit iffy, man. I did go and do a bit of a recce today, and the wood block that I'd identified as having a bit of a look at is overlooked by quite a few places, and it's a little bit fenced in, which might make it great. It also might make it a bit rough. It's also winter, pretty much, in its spring sort of winter. There's not a lot of foliage on the trees, so it's a bit of a rough one to say. I jumped out of the car and had a couple of walks around places to see, and some really good spots, but far too close to like public track. That's a bit of an issue. Connor says, why do I think Rashford only brings his A game when playing big games? I don't think he only brings his A game when playing big games. I think when he plays against teams that are also likely to go for us, it suits his playing style. I think when you have teams that are going to sit back against us, it doesn't. Matthew says, you won't have a structure though this summer. Ashford, Wilcox will not be in the building. You don't have to be in the building to help bring in the right stuff into the place. But yeah, I think people are underestimating how quickly a new structure is going to actually get some stuff. Notch says apparently getting warmer on Friday, but too near weekend. Yeah, I'm hoping to get out Wednesday night. I think I'm going to get out Wednesday night. Ash isn't away on holiday, so we haven't got Thursday Club. It's gone this week. So we'll see. Leon Rickett says, thoughts on how United are now trying to copy City, how the mighty have fallen. We roll English football now and you're a middling club. Well, as far as I'm aware, we haven't broken any rules, so I don't know what you're talking about. And what do you mean trying to copy City? I mean, if anything, the fucking book that's sitting on your desk that we're trying to look at's got the Barcelona logo on it, my friend. Fucking idiot. Apmanu says, when Wilcox comes, what do I think the main focus will be? I don't know. I don't know what he's here to do for sure yet. So that's that one. Callum says, backup striker, Casemiro replacement, centre back partnership, and a left back who can play every week, and this side should tick. Signings will make the most impact, the most obvious impact, but there'll be little things that improve off the field with it as well. Taj says, we need to get Højlund some support because I think he holds the game up but he doesn't get adequate support. Yeah, I would agree with that. Mr. Miracle says, do I think we can get some serious sales in the summer to generate money for more signings? Well, Ineos seems to be making the noises around that, don't they? And I think we absolutely need to do that because of the pressure that we're under from financial fair play. Just years of just giving our kids away. When you see Liverpool selling kids that are of the same level of quality for 15, 20 million, and we're like 250 grand, mate. Fucking ludicrous. For full internationals as well. And me and Ben's still on good terms. Yeah, he's my best mate. He has a full-time job, so he can't just come and fuck around doing a bit of YouTube every now and then. What's the latest on Greenwood? Don't know. Don't think he'll ever play for United again. Bradley says, apparently Chelsea want to let Reece James go. He could be all right for us. Why would we sign an injury-prone player? They're only going to let him go for it because he's injury-prone and because he's like pure profit because of him being an academy product. How many of our players are being sold to Nice? Yeah, let's see. Come on, show me the corruption. I am here for it. Flower Lover says, which other youngsters would come through? I mean, I've done loads of videos on that. Go and check those out. Josh says, have I been keeping an eye on McKenna's Ipswich? Back-to-back promotions, looking likely, playing some good football. I find it very interesting. And I knew that this would always happen because it happened on Jose, where people were screaming to get rid of him. You get rid of him, and then people are screaming that you got rid of him too early, and look at all the good things he did and all the things that he said that he was right about. And it was always going to happen with Ollie as well, because Ollie, for me, the football that we played under Ollie was the best football. At times, it must be said, I felt like in games that we were supposed to win, we would go and win. And in games that we weren't supposed to win, we would have a go. And against under Mourinho, that wasn't necessarily the case. And there was a toxicity and negative energy that I think Mourinho needs and uses to thrive in. That didn't suit Manchester United for me. And I preferred Ollie's way of dealing with things like that. But the narrative shift on everything Ollie did was perfect and everything Ten Hag's doing's wrong is wrong, because Ten Hag still has the best win rate, which is important. And even though things are objectively shite right now, I think there's some mitigation for it. As the next couple of weeks kind of unfold, you'll see more actual first choice players getting back into the team, and I expect to see a difference in how we play. If I don't see a difference in how we play, questions have to be asked. And that just doesn't mean get rid of him. He's not been here. He's had a season and a half, a season and 3/4, if you want to be fucking technical about it, at Manchester United in about as difficult a circumstance as it's possible to be. He's had the issues with the takeover hanging over him, the issues with the instability of his own job, the entire front office structure around him has either been replaced or is about to be replaced. He's had issues with everybody from Ronaldo to Varane to Sancho to Anthony to Greenwood to Rashford. All of these things he's had to deal with. Some of those might be his own doing. Some of those are absolutely not his doing. But I don't think the length of time he's been in the job is too long yet. I think there's things he has to fix. But I also value patience and perseverance and walking down one fucking pathway with a purpose. We flip-flopped from Moyes to Louis, from Louis to Jose, from Jose to Ole. We had a brief spell with Ralph Rangnick in charge. We went and identified an up-and-coming young manager that had really good credentials and a style of play. We got him. He's here. He's got a 60% win rate with a fucking awful team that's gone out week after week. I think he's earned the right to see out the final year of his contract and see what happens. De Gea United fan first with a super chat there says, Ten Hag, my commander-in-chief. Super chat there from Matt Friel. Cheers, our kid. Matt says, do I think Fred would have made any difference to our midfield problems this season? You couldn't play out with Fred. Hence why Solskjaer's tactics very often was playing on the counter. Let the opposition have it. We pack the midfield with McTominay and Fred, and we're just going to see work rate from them, and we'll defend the box with the likes of Maguire. And that's how it worked. And it was when he tried to change from that to being an in-possession, on the front foot sort of team, it absolutely fell to pieces. We have to go through this process of where it's going to look shit at times, it's not going to quite work, to get to the place where you want to be. It doesn't happen overnight. And yeah, like, does the 30-plus shots against Brentford excite me? Fucking no. But it also doesn't mean, like, just fucking start sacking managers every 18 months. I don't want to be that fucking club. Ant says, we can't afford to destabilise the team any further by sacking at Ten Hag. Considering all the structural changes, I don't think we can. Yeah, totally agree with that. Joe says, we're doing a Scousers at the weekend. I don't think we do. Super Scud says, How can you back him still? He's been concussed since pre-season. I honestly think Southgate would do a better job. I think you're concussed, brother. Rye Doug says, funny story from basic training. Failed the locker inspection, and my section commander went to throw my boots out of the window. We was on the first floor, and as he launches them, the window wasn't shut, and they bounced off the window and hit me in the face. And I'm doing this face to not laugh. And I failed, and I did more press-ups than I've ever done in my life. Augustus says, if Brighton can have a style of play, sack Ten Hag. Right, did Brighton just get a style of play in 20 minutes? No, they went and actually appointed a manager that suited the style of play that they already had at the club from Graham Potter, and potentially even from before that, and appointed a man and recruited players that could play his thing. We are still dealing with Jose Mourinho signings. I don't think we've got any Louis left, have we? I don't think. But do you know what I mean? People are talking about how many people that Ten Hag has signed. Well, how many of them actually started the last game? 2? Was it 2? Was it 2 of Ten Hag signings started the last game? Do you know what I mean? Wokemonger says, what's the name of the realistic war series you said you bought from YouTube? It's called Generation Kill, and it is must watch. I started watching Band of Brothers again today. Don't judge me. Dipsino says, Ash, Wilcox, Barada, when can we expect them to start? I think Barada start in the summer quite quickly. The rest of them, fuck knows. Do we make Mainu the new Keane or convert him? He's a box-to-box general, hopefully. I don't know if anyone's going to be the new Roy Keane. From a technical ability point of view, it's very hard to get close to what Roy Keane was, and some people will pull a face at that because he's not Busquets, but Roy Keane was a technical footballer that didn't lose the ball, had a deep 90s completion rate, and played the ball forward. And covered every blade of grass and held people to a high level of standard. So I don't think he'll be the new Roy Keane. Just let him be the new Kobe. Might be enough. Augustus Play says, we're also dealing with Ten Hag signing like Anthony, 100 mil. Again, did Ten Hag sign him for 100 mil, or did he say, I want a right winger, and actually I could do with this one? Now, did he get it wrong? Yeah. But did he negotiate the price? No. If the club had a valuation put on him of like whatever it was, 35 million, and then you go to Ajax and they say 85 million, you are a fucking mug if you pay that. But because the recruitment department didn't have any fucking ability in it whatsoever, they ended up paying that. There's been so many fucking excellent footballers move. I mean, my scout reports alone are fucking evidence that you can go and find some genuinely fucking top talent out there that doesn't cost you 100 fucking million. Yet the United's recruitment department or negotiators or whoever it is, the whole fucking lot of them can get in a bin because they're clearly not fit for purpose. Manchester United in the last 10 years have been known for buying at a fucking insane premium and selling for nothing and losing on every single player. That is a department not fit for purpose. So it's very clear, and it's very clear the way Ineos have gone about things, that is what they're about to fix first. Because we are hemorrhaging money. Like, if you decided that Harry Maguire was worth 45, 50 million, you're a fucking set of dicks if you paid 80 for him. And your negotiation skills are non-existent. You ring Leicester up on the first day of the transfer window, which is not when you do that thing, by the way. You do it nice and early, you get them for a good price, or you walk away. And you do it nice and early because then it gives Leicester the opportunity to go and spend the money you're about to give them on finding their replacement before you get to the last week of the window and all the prices go up because people can't replace the players that you're about to take. It's very fucking straightforward. And how Manchester United officials didn't do it. And people go, oh, do you think you know better? I think half of this fucking group chat knows better. How about that? How about that? I think half of this group chat could have done a fucking equal or better job than the fuckwits that we've had in charge of United for the last decade. Factually. because they've just wasted all of the fucking club's money. Well, you spent blah, blah, blah. One, we have. Two, we've also not spent as much as we've had to shell out on debt because of our fucking ownership of the Glazers. So how about that? No one ever talks about that, do they? That money's been siphoned out of the fucking club. Neil says, I was a Marine in the invasion of Iraq. You must fucking love Generation Kill then, because it fucking resonates with me, let alone someone who's an actual Marine. US Marine, I'm presuming, as well. Paul says, remember when we could have signed Fellaini and Baines for less than we signed Fellaini on deadline day? Do you know what I'm saying? Hostad says, what was the Wan-Bissaka scout report? It was 302 right backs were assessed, and then we decided to sign Wan-Bissaka for 50 million and binned off Hakimi. Ineos joining whatever manager speculation even higher. No one knows if they give him next season or cut losses. Yeah, there's a bit of that, isn't there? Piran says, why were we so much less chaotic last season? Missing Martinez and Shaw is big, but surely can't be that simple. Last season, what did you have? You had Martinez, you had Shaw, and you had a consistent midfield partnership of Casemiro and Eriksen. And occasionally, Brighton at Wembley rings a bell, and also the FA Cup final. We got completely overrun in midfield because they didn't have the legs between them, but they did manage to control the ball a lot better. And those four players alone, Casemiro in form, that is, by the way, because he just hasn't hit any level of form this year. But Eriksen, Casemiro, Martinez and Shaw just fucking levels up the football team. It's as simple as that. And you also had Marcus Rashford in form, which was covering up some issues that we had. We weren't perfect last season, but we were a lot better. No, and it just hasn't happened this year. It's been fucking dreadful. Rob's the super chat there says, what's my thoughts on now being able to have a beard in the army? Oh yeah, that broke on Friday night. I actually thought it was an early April Fool's drop, I'm going to be honest with you. And two, where do I see football YouTube space heading in the next 10 years? All right, having a beard in the army, it's about time. You can have one in the RAF. You can have one in the Navy. Royal Marines aren't allowed one, lol. But I don't see the reasons behind it. And actually, if you look around, there's that many people with shaving chits anyway, that there's a lot of fucking beards in the army, full stop. So what was the issue? It isn't anything to do with the respirator seal, although I do think that loads of people are going to use that excuse, and every exercise is going to end up now being fucking CBRN ones. I think it's a massive positive. Weirdly, I think it'll help recruitment, which they need because it's a crisis. And where do I see the football YouTube space heading in the next 10 years? I don't know, man. I think we're about 10-ish years deep, aren't we, or so, in like football YouTube being sort of popular and all that sort of stuff. I think it's 10 years since Andy Tate's Moisey thing, which is nuts. I thought we'd have like a couple of years of being shit. Meanwhile, 10 years later, look at us. Look at us. In terms of where does it go next, I think you'll see some go down the more comedy, toxic, over-the-top reactionary route because it does do numbers. And I would expect some, which I hope Paddock is one of, and the likes of Redmen and that go down the sort of not established journalism route, but sort of there's a halfway house that exists. We are not neutral. We don't pretend to be neutral. We're United fans, and we see it from a United angle. And I think there's a place for fan media, clearly, in the future of how the sport is covered. I think there'll be mistakes made by both creators, clubs and leagues as they try to navigate their way through this. But I think it's established now, and it'll be surprising if it ever goes away from this point, I think. Super chat there from James says, if the players' unwritten rule that they take the next game off after a big win now outed as fact, I don't think it's outed as a fact, but there's definitely a correlation, isn't there? Which is fucking disappointing. Uncle Steve, tell me it'll be all right in the end. It'll be all right in the end, but I don't know what's going on. Soz. Um, MDRN Samurai says it doesn't seem like much, but the grooming standard keeps everyone in uniform and kind of on the same page. Um, yes and no, because you can still have fucking scruffs that are clean shaven and their uniform's not fucking ironed. But I also think fucking time and a place, man. Like Afghanistan when I got there was the fucking Wild West, and it was just fucking do what you want, get the fucking job done, wear what you want. You've seen some people doing some absolute craziness. Oh, no PPE, or PPE was we're wearing a pair of fucking camo shorts and a pair of leather gloves because everything that you touch that's metal is gonna burn your fucking hand. And what we're wearing on the top, we are wearing Factor Zero baby oil to get a nice deep mahogany. Thanks for asking. Um, and when it you get a bit of a fucking dust devil come through, you get fucking covered in like a fucking glazed donut, just like or a cinnamon donut. And then when I got to Iraq, I got to Iraq after all the fucking headsheds I've managed to get to Iraq, and we literally get off the plane, and they're telling us the IA drill because it gets rocketed to fuck. And I'm kind of blasé. Shouldn't have been because it was fucking hella dangerous, and we did lose people to rocket attacks while we was there. But I'm thinking, like, it's 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 a fucking operational tour. It's scruffs, man. It's just fucking cut about the gaff and get the job done. And we were told to sign out an ironing board. And I was like, well, one thing I won't be doing is that, for starters. And for two, neither will me fucking lads. So fuck you. How about that? I think the grooming standard is a fucking... No, I disagree. I think the beard's like... I'd probably want to be getting pulled for this on my neck. Because I'm at the barber's tomorrow, right? So I'd probably want to be getting pulled for that and maybe a bit of this above the beard on the cheek. But yeah. The problem is you're going to get... Like, I could not grow a beard. We was allowed to in Afghanistan and I couldn't grow one. And it looked ridiculous. So you're going to get a lot of that. So you just got to fuck... There'll be a lot of people going, that shit, was it off? Would I join the Israeli army if they needed recruits from its allies? Absolutely fucking not. Ant says, I'm hazmat and CBRN qualified. Great fun that. We did our final live test on a hospital, scared the living shit out of patients. Fuck that. Why would you want to do that? Imagine how wild Rory's takes are going to be in 10 years. Doesn't bear thinking about. Danny says, hello, Steve. What do I think of Mainu in the 10 role with Andre and Hulmand at the base of midfield? I don't think he's a 10, and I think he's definitely got to be utilised as an 8. Retired Fraud says, World War III already kicking off silently, low key. Yeah, it's a bit iffy, innit? Sean says, who do you fancy for the league? Oh, it fucking feels like the Scousers are going to do it, doesn't it? It's not what I want, but I feel like it's going to happen. Lee says, in a hypothetical world where Moyes sees out his 6-year contract, do we fall further than we did, or does he turn things around? I don't reckon he turns it around. I think it gets worse for him. Could make a video on the Winners' Cup and what it means to me, so younger fans will understand the significance of it. Maybe. If I was a young lad again, would I join the army in this day and age? Probably, because I hear a lot. Like, I got mates who are senior NCOs and stuff like that now, and Aki says Twitter's going off. Well, what exactly is going off on Twitter? I got mates that are in now who say, "Oh, the army's gone to shit." But I also saw NCOs and stuff when I first joined saying that the army's gone to shit. I guess that's just the prerogative of people like. Um, Everything was better back in the day. It's not necessarily always the case. I mean, I think as it stands, the British Army at the moment is it's fucking massively down on manpower, but it feels like the kit is in a pretty decent spot. I mean, look at what some of the lads was going at the Gulf in 2003. It was, the boots were not fit for purpose. There wasn't enough body armor and stuff to go around. I feel like Herrick and Tellick, over the course of those, really did kit out the military. When are we going to see more Peak District walks? As of like in 2 weeks' time, there is a plan for a video a week on the IRL channel. Lucas says McKenna looking more and more likely to get back-to-back promotions. That's what I was about to say earlier. We were talking about Ollie, but people absolutely panned McKenna and Carrick and said they're fucking clueless, and then both of them went and got jobs and look very fucking good, actually. Philip says, I hear the SA80 was an absolute dog of a rifle. Was it as bad as people say? If so, why? So, Heckler and Koch improved it. I don't know who the original manufacturer of it was, or even if it was it could have been Heckler and Koch, actually. So, the SA80 A1 variant, the round cocking handle, I had that in training, and I got a fuckload of stoppages with it. And supposedly a lot of the stoppages was down to the way the magazine lips were fashioned, which, again, may or may not be true. That was the only one I had experience of, and mine just fucking... I ended up with my bolt exploding inside the breech to the point where I was standing on it to cock it and it wouldn't cock, and I got a right fucking on an exercise because I had like fucking 8 mags that I'd fired about 4 rounds off in a section attack. Nice one. Got hit with a log. Thanks for asking. The A2, which is what I got once I got to my regiment, I thought it was a fucking solid weapon. I have no experience with the A3 variant or the Nightstone or the new one that they've just got. But yeah, I think the A2 was pretty fucking solid and reliable. I think they did like a sterling fucking job on it. What formation do I think Ten Hag should use going forward? Anything with 2 strikers instead of 1 sounds good to me. I don't know if you're going to see too many 2-striker systems, and if you do, I think you'll move to a back 3 for it. Burnside is back, says, off topic. Is it even on topic, Late Night Knife? What is the topic? Fascinated to see if Brailsford installs coaching around periodization. There's so much to learn from cycling in particular. For once, can we do the revolutionising versus playing catch up? We say for once, but that was our MO for such a long time. Yeah, I think that's the one. Acid says, the reason I say this purely... I don't know, did I miss the first part of that? If the army are allowing politics within it, then people will say it's down the drain for going woke. People are saying, oh, the army's going woke, but I don't actually know what that fucking means. I'm going to be honest with you. Bob says, evening Steve, how would we have gone on if we'd have brought in the Monaco dream team of Jardine and Campos when Jose left at the time? They were gettable, and I think that was the route we should have gone. Probably was a pretty good route at the time, wasn't it? Because they did manage to assemble, on fuck all, it might be said as well, a team that got to the semi-finals of the Champions League. You can't really argue with that, can you? Irfan says, when Barcelona embarrassed us in 2009 and 10, you mean 2009 and 11, did we as Manchester United want to play like that? I don't think so at any point, no. I think that what they did was very much them. Derived from Johan Cruyff. No, I think we always wanted to play our own way. FOMO says, love it when United former players and coaches succeed. Just that proves how fucking bad United is under the Glazers. Telcontar says, it's disgusting how fans and the board treated Solskjaer and his staff, and now people again turning on Ten Hag while almost all the players are still here. Yeah, it's basically the same fucking team, isn't it? You say, genuinely, what's different? So you got Højlund up front, you had an academy player come through in Garnacho to play right wing, and you got a new goalkeeper. Like the back four the other day probably lined up for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Am I right or am I wrong? Do I think a lot of problems may stem from our players having low football IQ? Maybe. Maybe. Because it's obvious when someone has like really high football IQ, like Martinez or Menu, isn't it? King Cantona says, recent episode of the show with Ash was class, good adventure. Joshua says, did I know any Falklands veterans? My dad, instructor in the Welsh Guards, served there and said the boat seemed broken. Bear in mind, he joined at 16 in 83, just after the war ended. I was having this conversation with a lad the other day, with one of my mates the other day, who is still serving and at a depot at the moment as well. Now, what you're getting at the moment is a lot of corporals and sergeants that haven't got operational experience, whereas certainly when I joined, you had... I mean, the Gulf War was literally starting as I was going through basic training. The invasion was going as I was in basic training. But what you had was Falklands vets, Gulf War I vets, and then Kosovo, Northern Ireland, all of those sorts of things that had operational tours in them. One of my favourite officers was a late entry officer that was actually in the Falklands. And he used to just fucking cut about the gaff shirtless. He was hairy. He was a hairy man, like a fucking gorilla. And he used to just cut about the gaff with like a cold weather cap on. I haven't got mine down here, but like a cold weather cap. The deputy dog ones that are like folded up at the side, but with a cap, with a captain's rank on it, and a cigar, shirtless. Did not give a Frenchman's fuck, and he was gangster. Paul says, isn't it hilarious? We've had so many good coaches and managers since Fergie, and they've done fuck all. Ten Hag looked like he's been on the longest bender. We kill managers. Yeah, so how about we sort the structure out and give some of these fuckers a chance and see what happens? Favourite weapon? I fired a couple of the sneaky lads stuff in Iraq because Iraq was fucking boring, man. We did nothing. And we organised a range day with the SF lads, and they brought down some stuff that I'd never fired before, like MP5s, things like that. But I think my favourite one... So I got to go to Colt. That's a nice guy. But I would say, I don't think you can beat the GPMG, to be honest with you. I kind of likes it. Am I concerned about United's pre-season being in the States again? It's not as long as it this time. Nelson says, Steve, what do I think when Ten Hag said he's not concerned with the amount of shots we concede? I think he's lying. Because he has to be. Why the media still having City and Arsenal as favourites when Liverpool are 3 points ahead? Don't know. Paula says, stop swearing. Children listen to this. I'm off, honestly. Well, it's fucking 9:30 at night. The fuckers should be in bed, shouldn't they? Little twats. How about that? Sean says, Steve got laid into Joel. I thought Jose was Arsenal manager for a second. Came for a draw, got 28% possession, and they're gloating for the first team to stop City from scoring. Wow. Craig says, Stephen is a true G. I'm a 35-year-old City fan, but you talk the truth. Keep going, oh, yeah, but we don't really want your salt round here. I'm going to be honest with you, brother. Josh says, Joel does speak like he's just put in 90 minutes alongside the lads every week. Good answer. Would I rather be a Roman legion, a samurai, or a Mongolian horse archer? I reckon Roman legion. Nathan says, what are we planning on doing with youth football with the club? So, today, I put out a vote for members of Paddock FC. So if you're a member, you're watching this and you haven't checked your email, please go and check your email because there is a vote and you've got till Friday to cast your vote. there's 3 questions on there. And the 3 questions are about expansion of the football club. Question 1 is, should we expand to include under 16s? Question 2 is, should we expand to under 18s? And question 3, should we expand to a reserve side? We've previously had a reserve side, but we would like to bring it back. At the moment, we have got first team and 21s. And we started this season with a reserve side, and it went away for whatever reason, but I would like to bring it back. I've got the numbers, and I would like to do it. There will be a vote next Monday on kit supplier, and then there will be a vote the following Monday on live broadcasts that we're able to do. So if you want to be involved in a democratic football club, then just Google Stretford Paddock FC membership and follow the links. You're all smart enough to do that. And do you know what? If you're not, then we'd rather not have your input if you can't fucking work that out. Because we're trying to build a football club with intelligent people that want to run a fucking football club. And there's been some really fucking great questions in the feedback, and I will answer all those soon as. In terms of, are we bringing under 6s, under 7s and all that lot? If I had the facilities, I would bring all that in, and we would have that boxed off fucking 18 months ago. But it's that, yeah. Mocha says, our membership's annual payment, there are 2 options. You can pay up front, and it's 50 quid a year, or you can pay monthly, which is £5 a month, which, as you'll work out, is 60 quid a year, so it's a touch higher if you pay monthly. But that's the script. So if you want to get involved, that's the script. MDRN Samurai says, what's the best way to support Paddock? I would say just get involved in the comments on the videos. If you've got no cash to spare, do that. Share the videos and get involved in the comments, because that really helps. Or if you want to get involved as a member, you can get involved as a member, or you can even get involved as a volunteer, because we need volunteers. Evening, Steve. With all the front office staff appointments, how long do I give Ten Hag before he either challenges or wins the league? I think he'll need to see improvements in team performance next next season. If we don't, he will be out the door because his contract is up. So he's going to have to do something that makes them go, this kid's got it. And they keep him around. Tyler says, how big would Paddock's facilities have to be to support more youth teams? We just need a pitch. It would need to be a 4G pitch, but if we had a 4G pitch, I think I worked out I could support somewhere in the region of 800 kids. 862, I think, was the total that we came up with that we think we can support. And that would be first team, men's, women's, boys, girls, multiple sides at every age group, all the way down to soccer schools for 4 and 5 year olds. We did have an agreement in place for a facility. It was agreed without me being there, but there's other people at the club that can do that sort of stuff. Cuddles were had. Things were agreed to the point where people didn't just shake hands but had a fucking cuddle because it was agreed. And then the person that was selling reneged on the deal. As we were pushing for contracts to make it legit, they changed their mind and asked for more money. So it's one of those. Flashburn says, you didn't say anything about intelligent members when I first became a member. Hope it's still all right to vote. Pete says, Ten Hag could do with a new assistant that can drill as a style of play. Do you know what McLaren's doing? Because people used to hammer McKenna and Carrick like this, and no one had a fucking clue. Andy says, a little bit behind, had to rewind, but respirator seal is the reason I was given for no beards when I joined up in 2000. Yeah, but there are soldiers with beards. There's people who've got beards for shaving reasons because they can't shave or they have skin conditions, or there's soldiers with religious reasons to wear a beard. And it doesn't have the interesting thing, man, because we all know someone who fucking shaves at 9 a.m. and then by lunchtime has got a fucking beard like me. And then we know some people that could not shave for a year and you'd think they shaved that morning. So the lads who just can't grow one, 2 weeks ain't going to fucking matter to them. It's just going to be one of them, innit? Josh says, saw what you said about McTominay recently, and while statistically I agree, there's got to be a reason every manager who's had him has played him and praised him over and over. Any ideas why? I think he's got good character. I think he puts a fucking shift in. I think he's one of the fittest lads in the team. I think he's a bit of a physical specimen, and sometimes those things get you picked. But from a technical point of view, you can't play certain styles of football with him in the team. Okay, Bud says, don't all US Special Forces guys have birds, or is that just the films? Yeah, I believe so. As do a lot of the UK Special Forces. To be honest, they all look exactly the fucking same. If they're, if they wear a beard and grow their hair out to look a little bit more civilian, they couldn't look anything other than military by the fact that they've got a fucking beard, and the clothing that they wear is just such a giveaway. In there's a look. Ant says, isn't it funny how the attitude to beards is totally reversed when you move into certain regiments? For 1,000,000%, 1,000,000%. Yeah, if some of the military sort of meme pages, I've been posting some of the nonsense that's been coming out from different chains of command, even though Chief of General Staff basically, literally said, you've got 2 weeks to grow a fucking beard over Easter. Like, RSMs are out there texting all their bods saying, yeah, that don't fucking apply to you. It applies to the whole army, mate, so how about shut your mouth? Mr. Miracle says, why do I feel Amrabat is not good? I see him as a squad player that allows Kobe and Bruno to be mentally more free to move forwards. I don't fucking know, but he hasn't looked like it, has he? Because when he was coming, I was well excited. And he's just not been that. Let's see what more we've got on the old Insta. Matt says, how was Penny Fan? How did I find it climbing it? So we did the fan dance like nearly 2 weeks ago. It was fucking double mega hard. It was actually double mega hard. And I don't see where you can pick up any speed on it, and I've got to do it again. So I'm really looking forward to that. Simon says, Steve, do I remember FaceTiming Messi about 7 years ago? I swear it happened, but the video got deleted. We chopped the bit out where we FaceTimed him because I accidentally put his number up on the screen. But yeah. So the story behind that is one of my mates is an agent, and he used to look after Veron. And Veron, just being every fucking lazy footballer ever, instead of texting everybody Happy Christmas one year, he put his entire phone book into one WhatsApp group and just put fucking Merry Christmas. And there was hundreds of people in this. So my mate being an agent, and contacts being your currency when you're an agent, he just went through, clicked on like the photos and the phone numbers and shit like that, and figured out who was who and who. And he got like R9 and Messi and all that. As he was telling me, I was like, fucking give us Messi's. So he did. He was like, you ain't got it off me. I'm like, yeah, fine. And we, I texted him. I Googled what would be the equivalent of new number, mate, in Spanish. And he replied saying, who's this? And then I rang him. And he didn't answer. Then we rang him a few more times. And he didn't answer. But it is what it is. Could Paddock ever act like a feeder club for the likes of United or Salford City? At academy level, yes. Once they get over like 14, 15, probably not. Certainly United. For Salford, while they're in League Two, yes, we've had players that have left us and gone to League Two. I mean, not many. I say players. We've had one player do that. We might have another one doing that soon. He's having a really good season at the moment. Not with us, elsewhere. And then we'll see if he gets a move that is on the table for him. Could you just tell by the look if someone was Special Forces? No. People are quite varied. And actually, even in the army, for me, Marines all look the same. Does anyone else get that vibe? Marines all look the same, but every other regiment, no, I don't think so. Apart from officers all look the fucking same as well. What impacts of FFP do we see lowering the price of players in the future in order to balance the books? You might do. But I think there's always going to be teams who go for it and fuck what happens, I reckon. Did we come back from 4-0 down at half time at weekend? Did we fuck? Did we fuck? No, the first goal, it's been doshed over the top. Centre half's not dealt with it. And the keeper's started to come and stopped. I haven't even watched the video back yet, so I don't know what happened for the third and fourth. The keeper ends up in no man's land. The worst thing you can do as a keeper, you just got to make decisions. Even if they're wrong, sometimes they end up being right by action. And he didn't. He sort of stood there, and it's 1-0. Fucking nice one. And it was against the run of play. And 30 seconds before, Ryan's just had a cross flashed across the box, which has hit his shoulder and gone over, rather than if he's connected better with it, it goes in and it's 1-0, and we'd probably go on and win the fucking game from there. So we keep pushing. Passing's not quite right in our half, and we're losing ball in shit areas. Mikey doesn't defend a 1v1 well enough. He's just got to stand him. He gets rolled around the outside. Even in hindsight, taking a fucking foul might have been the option, and just fucking launch him because he's outside the box, making a case for just fucking lifting him. The kid's just smashed across the box, and as he's coming into the box to defend the box, it's hit Omar in the fucking chest, and it's gone in 2-0. And then third and fourth were equally calamitous, and I'm like, what the, like, we haven't been outplayed. We're actually playing some alright stuff. There's been shit mistakes in our third, but we're fucking causing them problems. So I flipped it half time, went to a back three, sort of one holder, one playmaker in midfield, and then just 5 fucking forwards. Made 3 changes at half time. We pulled one back, but it was too late. If we'd have pulled one back like 5 or 6 minutes in, we might have had a chance, because some of the football we were playing in the second half was literally ridiculous. We just didn't have. And if we'd have scored one and got a second early, I think we'd have gone on and done it. But the fact they held on to like the 70th minute before we got our first, you was never coming back from 4, but you've got to fucking give it a go, aren't you? I'm never going to just be like, oh, well, let's try and not concede anymore. Fuck that noise. I got to think I can win it, man. Whether it's deluded or not, I still got to think I can win it. Did I ever hear anything about James Blunt when you were in the forces? Yeah, there was, I think there was an Apache pilot who knew him. It must have come from, was he in the, was he in Household Cavalry or something like that? I think he must have come from the same gaff. Common Pence said, how can we have Manu and not be able to get some Ajax football in the squad? Be nice, wouldn't it? Ginge says, Paras all look the same. I disagree with that. Alma says, Ten Hag stays only if he produces a miracle, and that is Champions League spot and FA Cup win. No, I think I don't think he needs either of those things to definitely stay. I think if he gets both of those, he does definitely stay. But I don't think he needs either of those things to still be around here. Anthony says, do I know where my nearest bomb shelter is? And if not, do I plan on finding out? I'm starting to actually think about it, which is crazy, but it's kicking off for sure. No, because if they do tactical fucking nukes on the UK, do you want to survive it? I don't fucking know if I do, to be honest. Everyone you know is fucking dead. All your job's dead. My job's online. I'm fucking dead within 2 weeks, aren't I? Because there'll be no internet. Nah. We're fucked. So just catch it on your fucking forehead and happy days. John says, will I be appearing on Neville's fan debate following on from Adam and Jay? I was meant to do it this week, and then Jay just did it because it happened on a Wednesday, which is my day to go fuck off into the woods. What's my thoughts on Pep saying Ollie was the closest manager to get to challenging City? Well, he had a really good record against him, didn't he? But we just weren't quite at it with everybody else. Do I think Fergie was wrong to let McGrath go? No, and he probably had his best years post United. He did, but he also had serious personal problems with the drink, and those problems weren't making the team any better. So no, it was probably correct. If a wider world war pops off, do I think regular folks like me could sign up? Would that work? If it fucking pops off proper, I don't think anyone's going to be signing up to fucking anything, to be honest with you. I think there's going to be fucking game over for everyone. Sky Fox says, I believe Ten Hag has a crop of talented academy players slowly but surely ready to come through. If he sticks around and creates a team like Fergie did with a class of 92 at his core, we'll be back to the top again. It's a big if, bro. It is a big if. Oh, where's that gone? Just lost my questions. Got him. Blunt was in the lifeguards. Sounds about right, doesn't it? Have you heard how posh he speaks? Of course he fucking was. Graham says, post Fergie, which manager would I give more time again under the new structure? Louis or Ollie? If they dropped a nuke, I'd rather be the centre of it and just evaporate and live than live in the aftermath. So something I was always curious about, but never overly curious about to the point where I actually bothered my ass to do any research, was why was there never any nuclear fallout with Hiroshima and Nagasaki? And supposedly it was because it airburst and it didn't hit the ground. It only radiates the ground when it fucking penetrates into the ground. But supposedly it burst in the air, and they did that to actually cause the most fucking damage possible, rather than because they was like, oh, well, let's think of the environment. They didn't give a fuck about that. They just fucking dropped it. But one of the, can you even call it a happy side effect? I guess one of the more fortunate consequences of what they did was that it didn't irradiate the ground in the same way like, you know, some of the shit that fell out in Chernobyl and stuff did. Why can't modern footballers tackle, including Paddock? Because everything's a fucking yellow card now. And that's why the game's different. And that's why fucking Arsenal fans are going, oh, look at what Saka did. It's better than Giggs' best season. For starters, they played different positions. And for two, some of the tackles that Ryan Giggs would have been hit with, that the first one's free. Are you mad? Like, some of those tackles would have been straight red cards nowadays, without a doubt. So it's a different game in so many different ways that, you know, and there's also, like, I think nearly a goal a game more scored nowadays than there was in the early 90s. Like, fucking roll that one round your head. Do I think if we signed Neves, our midfield would be a little too short and get manhandled in the Prem? Maybe. If Ineos was to sack Ten Hag, who would I want to manage United? I don't know. Serenity says need to dig out some of the Fallout 76 shelters. Why is everything a comparison for Arsenal fans? They can't get us out of their head because they haven't won a league in 20 fucking years. And they're also the media darlings on the low. It's like a low-key kind of, it's almost patronising in a way. Like, I remember articles all the way through like the deep 2000s that Arsenal were going to do a quadruple. And they won fucking nothing. Nothing. Like, remember when Eduardo broke his leg? They had banners up with the Champions League and the Premier League silhouettes on them saying for Eduardo. I didn't realise that was why we won the both of those. Do I think Rashford's form has something to do with his little pal throwing a tantrum and going to Germany? I doubt it. No, I doubt it. Potter or Southgate? Ugh. Fucking hell. You know what? No. Does my 90s United team beat my 90s United team? Yeah, hell of a game, wasn't it? Hell of a game. Coyle says, how come Cantona is never viewed as one of the greatest forwards in Prem history? We spoke about this a little bit last week in terms of like why Steven Gerrard is overrated and why United players are underrated. And it's because United have been absolutely blessed with some wonderful talent. People like Dwight York should be first round picks for Hall of Fame in the Premier League. No one's going to make that case. People was laughing at Michael Carrick being nominated for the Premier League Hall of Fame. Why? in terms of his ability as a footballer, he was ridiculous. If he played for like Newcastle or something like that, they'd have made sure he went into the Hall of Fame first, especially with the number of trophies that he won and how integral he was to trophy-winning, successful 3-in-a-row Champions League winning fucking teams. He was mega underappreciated at the time, partially by United fans as well, because we gave him the number 16 and he was not Roy Keane. He didn't smash anyone. So that was a little bit of a thing to get our heads around for a while. But we've got so many. We've got so fucking many legendary players that have helped us win things. Realistically, you can make a case for like the all-time Premier League 11 be 11 United players. You can make a case for the first 20 inductees into the Premier League Hall of Fame being Manchester United players. But the other clubs aren't going to have that. And they're all going to push their little darling forward for it. You know, Dwight York comes to Manchester United, no settling in period, scores 29 goals, gets 20 assists, wins the fucking treble, and smashes everything in sight, and never gets spoken about. European Golden Boot in a year that we won the treble. But when United fans go to nominate their favourite striker, he's behind Rude, he's behind Rooney, he's behind Cantona, he might be behind Andy Cole in some people's. RVP for some fans, probably it sticks up there as well because it was the last trophy that we won, or last league title that we won. Like, we've had so many incredible footballers, like, you can't correctly give every single United player their flowers. I mean, we won 13 of the first 20 Premier Leagues. You've never seen dominance like that. You know, we are 16 years into Manchester City being taken over by the Sheikhs. You know, in 4 years' time, they're not going to have 13 titles to their name. Just like, you can't even think of the level of dominance that we've shown. Lee New says the all-time Premier League 11 is 10 United players and Shearer up front, but you can make a case for Wayne Rooney ahead of Shearer. You can make a case for Cantona over Shearer. You can make a case for Ruud van Nistelrooy over Shearer. Do you know what I mean? Alma says, I don't see anything wrong with Dwight York being on that list. No, it shouldn't be. He was fucking incredible. But, you know, some people will tell you that's not the one. King Cantona says, Pally, who people rarely know, especially the younger generation, I thought it was amazing. I watched the Barcelona United double header from '94 the other day. Pallister was fucking incredible. Pallister was he was playing on the halfway line, and he was stepping in with the ball and playing fucking seriously good football with the ball, as well as being great off the ball and a great defender and a great header as well, wasn't it? Like, just... No one's going to be fucking pleased for you to sort of advocate for Gary Pallister, but you tell me that United were as successful in the 90s without him. Now, for me, United have got the three best centre-halves in Premier League history. It's Yapstam, it's Rio, and it's Vidic, and in that order, right? I'm not going to get mad at you if you put Vidic over Rio. I'm not going to get mad at you if you put Rio over Stam or whatever. But for me, it's Stam, it's Rio, it's Vidic. It's in that order. But Gary Pallister was not far off either of them. He just looked like a bag of shit at all times. He just looked knackered. Which player from the current United side do I think would have played best under Fergie? Martinez. Or Rashford, actually. Harry Kane moving to Bayern and not win a title. Like I said, I put this on Twitter yesterday. I think it's fucking hilarious. I genuinely do. Would I call Tevez a United legend? No, not when you hold up a sign saying RIP Fergie. I think you fucking forfeit your right to be called a United legend. Call me old-fashioned. When it comes to United legends, longevity plays a part. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, because we had people who had phenomenal careers here, like Wayne Rooney became United's all-time leading goal scorer, you have to recognise that. It's an incredible achievement. So the likes of York's, short, incredible stint doesn't get thought about. Ratchet says, can't believe McTominay still plays for us. We sold Pereira, Fred, Herrera, but this dude's still here. Toby says, how come no one's saying anything about how flat all the players looked on Saturday? Could it be because they travelled same day? We travel same day so often. I don't know why that got made into a big thing. We travel same day to London so fucking often. I don't think that's a thing. Why did they look flat? I don't know. Why did Liverpool completely fall off a fucking cliff last year when they played like virtually every fucking game the season before? Ed says, why is the Fergie managerial tree never blossomed like a Cruyff? I don't know. I mean, he's had some decent spells. I mean, they've not done it on the European stage, obviously, have they? But also, English football hasn't. English football hasn't produced any, has it? You know, what is the best English manager that we've had in the Premier League? What is the best player that we've seen who plied his trade entirely in the Premier League as a manager? Does it exist? Was one of the things that made Cruyff great was because he played obviously in Holland, but a large part of his career in Spain. You know, it was one of the things that helped Guardiola was that, you know, he's got Dutch influence in him through Johan Cruyff, but he also went and spent some time in Italy. I think he also played in Qatar or something as well, but like probably not got too much from there. But, you know, did he pick up a lot in Italy? Jay says, more mentally than super tactical, so more captains than managers. It could be that. United certainly had tactics, and Fergie was more of a tactician than he will ever be given credit for. But Bielsa was similar. But what's Bielsa won? Like one fucking Argentine title or something. Cruyff was ahead of his time, but also completely off his fucking melon, in a good way as well with it. I think Fergie kept it quite simple. You know, Brian Clough, did he really? Martin O'Neill, but was he a prodigy of him? Really? Like, you know, I don't know. You know. Would I take Ancelotti? Ancelotti or Mourinho was my choice post Fergie, to be honest. I think the ship has sailed on that one now, I reckon. Did I get a chance to explore Lisbon during the Mourinho interview? If so, how was it? Nah, it was literally in and out. We was home fucking midnight same day. Luke says Cruyff practically invented modern day football. The Barcelona legacy, it should be renamed to the Johan Cruyff legacy for what it truly is, but the Barcelona legacy is one of my favourite football books. I must have gone through it 4 times. It's so fucking good. Alma says no former United player has gone to be a great manager. The closest is probably Bruce. I mean, you've got Carrick at the moment, but you know Roy Keane did quite well before he tossed it off. NXT says, steer a clip of Rude Hullet questioning Ten Hag about his open midfield on TV. Can I send it you? It's worth watching. Yeah, tweet it me, please. What formation did all those Fergie teams play? Well, 4-4-2 initially, and then 4-3-3 from 2002-3 onwards. James says, does Heads Gone do well for the channel? I hope so. Not in numbers, no. It doesn't do great numbers, to be honest with you, but we enjoy it, so we'll keep fucking doing it. Jay says, Ollie had the highest peak, I'd say. Ollie... Yeah, you might even be right, you know. I think it was telling that Ollie was getting, whether it was true or not, but the fact that Ollie was getting linked with somewhere like Bayern, I could see him going somewhere like that. I think the longer Ten Hag's in the job and the more problems Ten Hag uncovers or has to deal with, I think the better what Jose did and what Ollie did looks, sadly. King Cantona says he was adaptable back then. What the game demanded, we got done. Is that about Fergie? First United match I watched, Southampton at home, September 1990. Do I think Ollie will get another go at managing United at some point? I'd be very surprised if he did, to be honest with you. I would be very surprised if he did. Irfan says, so Ferguson didn't play tiki-taka, maybe counter-attack. United played possession football. United played some incredible possession-based one-touch football. Like, there's some incredible clips from the 90s. That was the team I grew up watching. Our defence is on the halfway line, and we are rotating, and we're just playing one-touch stuff, and it's incredible. And, yeah, it was sensational to watch. But, you know, it's one of them, innit? Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. It's late. I haven't got an early start tomorrow, but it is one of those. Cheers for tuning in, as always. Make sure to subscribe if you are new. We're back tomorrow as we get stuck into what's happening for Chelsea and Arsenal. Sorry, Chelsea and Liverpool coming up this week. Yeah, one of them, innit? Anyway, see you in the next one. Where's my sheet gone so I can turn it off? Right, I'm really going now. See you in a bit. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.